Welcome, everyone. I'm excited to welcome you to today's presentation. We're going to explore a very important topic: how to begin before you're ready. The title itself hints at courage and taking action even when things aren't perfect. Over the next few slides, we'll uncover practical strategies and inspiring insights to help you start confidently. So, let's dive in and discover how to embrace new beginnings with courage. Most people tend to wait for the perfect moment to start something new. They think they need the right idea, the ideal timing, or even the perfect version of themselves before taking action. We often call this preparation, but in reality, it's just hesitation disguised as logic. The truth is, being ready is a story we tell ourselves to avoid the discomfort of starting. We convince ourselves that we need to be fully prepared before we begin. But in fact, every dream, every change, every reinvention hits an invisible wall that says, "I'll start when." The key point here is that beginnings don't come with permission. They come through motion, by taking that first step. You don't need to have full confidence to start. What you really need is just a single act of courage, something small, that you can repeat until momentum takes over. Remember, readiness isn't a prerequisite for action. It's actually a result of taking action. The more you act, the more ready you become. Let's talk about a common belief we've been taught. Culturally, we've been told that competence comes first, that you need to know what you're doing before you take action. The idea is that you must be fully prepared before you start. But in reality, that's not how it works. The truth is, courage actually comes first. It's the courage to begin that leads to competence, not the other way around. Experience, then, becomes the reward for stepping out rather than a prerequisite for starting. Waiting until you feel completely ready is often just fear in disguise, trying to make itself look like a responsible decision. When we say, "I'm not ready," it might sound rational, but really, it often means, "I'm unsure if I can handle who I might become once I step into the unknown." Every new beginning naturally brings a little fear of growth. That's normal. Because to start something new is to step out of what's familiar, even if that familiar thing isn't fulfilling. Here's the paradox. You can't become the person who feels ready without first starting as the person who doesn't. The myth of readiness can be a barrier. It's a form of preparation that often masks hesitation. So, remember, real growth happens when you embrace that unprepared feeling, knowing that courage is what propels you forward into becoming more capable. Courage before competence. I want you to really focus on this idea because it's a powerful reminder that sometimes taking that first step requires bravery more than expertise. You don't need to be perfect or fully skilled right away. Instead, what matters most is having the courage to try, to put yourself out there. The slide also says, experience is the reward, not the requirement. This means that we shouldn't wait until we feel completely ready or have all the answers. Often, the best way to learn and grow is by simply diving in and gaining experience along the way. It's through action that we develop competence. So remember, don't let the fear of not knowing hold you back. Be brave, take that initial step, and understand that the experience you gain will come after, not before, your effort. This ties into our overall theme of growth and leadership. Sometimes, you have to act first and trust that competence will follow. There's a moment before every beginning, a pause, a held breath. That's the threshold. Most people stand there for years, mistaking hesitation for preparation. But the threshold isn't meant to be a home. It's a passage. To cross it, you don't need certainty, you need permission. Not from others, but from yourself. This is what I call the threshold principle. It's about recognizing that the hesitation, the pause, is actually a natural part of starting something new. And the key is giving yourself permission to move forward, even if everything isn't perfectly clear. Because true progress happens when you accept that the only approval you need is your own. Let's talk about the threshold principle and the 3 quiet truths it's built on. First, feel the resistance, that feeling of hesitation or fear, and then step through it anyway. Remember, fear isn't a stop sign. It's actually a sign that something meaningful is waiting for you on the other side. It's a signal that growth is just beyond that boundary. Next, shrink the entry. Instead of trying to leap over your fear all at once, start smaller. Do just one tiny action, something manageable, not a big master plan. The nervous system trusts movement more than promises, so even a single step can build trust and momentum. And finally, anchor the act. Each small step you take helps to plant a new identity in your mind, like telling yourself, "I'm someone who begins." Repeat that new identity often until it feels natural. The more you practice these gentle acts, the more courage you build, and courage, when practiced consistently, turns into real competence. These three truths, feeling resistance, shrinking the entry, and anchoring the act, are the quiet but powerful keys to moving through thresholds and growing beyond them. All right, let's talk about the single-step rule. When you're feeling overwhelmed, the best thing you can do is take one deliberate step. And I want to emphasize, it's not about taking a giant leap or trying to do everything at once. Just move forward, even if it's a small step. Our nervous system actually trusts small, certain actions much more than big, abstract goals. It's wired to respond to manageable, clear movements. That first step, no matter how tiny, can rewire your hesitation into real momentum. This is really powerful because it helps you break the cycle of feeling stuck. Practicing this rule, taking that single step, can make a huge difference in how you approach challenges. It's about simplifying the process and making progress feel achievable. Remember, sometimes all it takes is just that one step to get things moving in the right direction. Let's talk about the power of a simple, focused approach with the one-sentence start. Instead of trying to map out the entire journey or planning every step, it's more effective to concentrate on just one thing, one line, one call, or one action. That single step can create momentum. The key idea here is that beginnings tend to grow faster than intentions. So, by taking that small, clear action, you set off a chain reaction that propels you forward. This practice reminds us that progress often starts with simplicity and clarity. When you focus on just one thing, it becomes easier to move from intention to reality, and that's how meaningful change begins. Let's talk about reframing readiness. Instead of asking myself, "Am I ready?" I find it more helpful to ask, "What's the smallest version of ready I can act on?" This shift is powerful because it transforms doubt into clear direction. Instead of waiting for perfect readiness, I focus on taking small, manageable steps that move me forward. This approach keeps momentum going and reduces the paralysis that often comes with overthinking. Remember, readiness isn't an all-or-nothing state. It's about finding the smallest, simplest version of being prepared so I can act today. This ties into the overall theme of taking intentional action and embracing progress over perfection. Let's take a moment to feel the body. Often, when we're anxious or scared, our body speaks for us. Think about that quickened breath or that tightening in the chest. These are signs that fear is trying to take hold. But here, the key. When we learn to calm the body, something interesting happens. The mind begins to listen differently, more clearly, more calmly. It's like giving ourselves a chance to reset. Movement and action only really start when our body is on board. It has to agree before we can move forward confidently. So, this practice, feeling the body, is about tuning in and noticing those physical signals. By doing this, we create a foundation of calm that allows us to approach situations with greater awareness and ease. Remember, calming the body isn't just about relaxation. It's about opening the door for the mind to respond thoughtfully, not react impulsively. This is a simple but powerful step in managing fear and building resilience. Let's talk about breaking inertia and truly celebrating motion. Often, we get caught up in the idea of finishing something, but here, the focus is on honoring the act of movement itself. Remember, each step forward, no matter how small, helps us break the spell of stagnation that can hold us back. When we celebrate movement, we start to see progress not just as a destination, but as a series of moments worth appreciating. Confidence naturally grows in that space between steps, those little movements that might seem insignificant but are actually building blocks for bigger change. So, practice this. Instead of chasing the end goal relentlessly, focus on the act of moving. Celebrate each motion. That's how we keep momentum alive and foster a mindset that values progress over perfection. Every person who's ever inspired you, whether they're artists, entrepreneurs, parents, or leaders, all started out unready. They didn't wait until they felt completely prepared or knew exactly how to do everything. Instead, they began before they knew how. Readiness, much like courage, is something you build through action, through moving forward. You learn by leaning into it, by taking that next step, even if it feels uncertain. Failing gracefully is part of the process, and listening to that quiet pull of the future guiding you onward is how growth happens. Remember, the universe doesn't test your readiness. It responds to your participation. It's about showing up and engaging, even when you don't feel fully ready. So the key is to start before you feel completely prepared. Take a breath a little deeper, make a move a little smaller, try a step that feels a bit truer to you. And as you do, along that uncertain path, you might notice something subtle. Your fear begins to soften, the way opens up, and suddenly readiness catches up to you. You become ready by simply beginning. It's in that initial act of starting that everything begins to align. Thanks for watching, everyone. I really appreciate your time and attention. If you enjoyed this presentation, please like and share it with others who might find it helpful. Don't forget to subscribe for more content like this, and I'd love to hear your thoughts, so leave a comment below. Remember, How to New is all about inner athletics. It's not about competing against others, but about striving for excellence within ourselves. It's about pushing our own boundaries, developing our inner strength, and cultivating a mindset of continuous growth. This idea ties into the overall theme of the presentation, which is about transforming how we approach challenges, focusing on our internal progress rather than external competition. Thanks again for joining me on this journey toward inner mastery.